Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to the Midweek Takeaway. Today we're joined by Leon Coetzer, CEO of Jubilee Metals. Welcome back, Leon.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for the opportunity again.
Absolutely, not a problem. So obviously we saw news that Jubilee's just announced key results for Q4 2024, showing robust performance in chrome and copper production. In Zambia, the company achieved 488 lost time injury-free days and increased copper production by 17.1% annually, hitting the upper revised targets. The completion of the Roan Front-End Module contributed to this success, enhancing processing capabilities. In South Africa, chrome production rose by 20% year-on-year, prioritising chrome over platinum group metals due to favourable market conditions. The firm has set ambitious production targets for financial year 2025, reflecting its strategic expansion and operational efficiency in both regions. Sounds like real progress, Leon.
It certainly is, Phil. Yes, it comes at a very interesting time as well when we've just commissioned a new Roan Front-End plant. So that project is ramping up. And we've also, as we told the market earlier, we brought my Boy project into operation. So we're really going into a period of these projects being ramped up, stabilizing, and then, as you said, contributing to our copper production. And in South Africa, a very stable, mature business, organically growing constantly through its ability to process materials very, very efficiently. So in all, a very good set of results, yes.
Absolutely. So do you think some of the challenges that you've sort of faced along the way in Zambia are sort of now behind you and progress will be quicker going forward?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're quite right. We've had to overcome a number of challenges in Zambia, from infrastructure, logistical, etc., and very much so. To have had this project at our Roan facility commissioned, operating, and critical is even the early results from this operation mirroring what we were achieving in our laboratories and in our development centers. Very, very positive development. It also gives you that confidence as we're busy designing the expansion and the implementation of our waste rock project, a very large project we partnered with the Abu Dhabi IRH, that our laboratory results do translate into our operational results. It gives us confidence to move faster in Zambia.
Okay, then. So give us an idea how you see things progressing. I mean, I was reading through the progress. The chrome looks fantastic. Another 10% on top of what you did the previous year, and another 10% targeted for 2025 to upgrade. And obviously, when we were with you in South Africa, there we saw different projects there all around Ileoni that are increasing that ability to get the chrome. How's chrome doing in terms of its financial implication on the business?
Yeah, very much. As just in South Africa, we have this, this flexibility that plays to our strength to be able to accelerate chrome, de-accelerate PGMs or prioritize PGMs and chrome, which gives enormous flexibility to a business in a market that is fluctuating. And so in South Africa, as we say in the RNS, we capitalized on our chrome capacities and maximized our chrome processing. And by prioritizing reefs that translate into higher chrome production numbers at the expense of PGMs, but for the right reasons. Our margins on chrome continue to grow. Our production results continue to support the efficiencies in chrome. So the offset that chrome can offer to any softer market in PGMs is a significant advantage that we hold in South Africa.
Okay, great. And from a copper perspective, obviously, from a percentage point of view, you rose quite a lot. And your predictions for 2025, considering we've talked about trying to get up to that 25,000 tons per annum, seem very conservative. So what are you doing there? Are you sitting on the fence, Leon, or are you hoping that there's going to be much more than this going forward?
The absolutely excellent question, Kevin, is if you look at our installed capacities that we now hold in Zambia, installed processing capacity, we have reached that 25,000 ton copper installed capacity. That'll be completed with the expansion that's currently on the go at Sable. So it means that if you look at Sable, you look at Roan, combined, we're sitting at the 25,000 tons. Going forward now, it's how we utilize that capacity. As we said in the RNS, going forward, more and more, Sable's capacity will be dedicated towards Project Monkoi, Project G, as we call them, and the clusters around these two projects. So as these projects come on stream, more and more Sable's capacity, which we target to reach 16,000 tons of copper, will be dedicated to those projects. It therefore means that Roan's capacity comes in as additional copper production that will be sold into the open market. And as that migration happens, copper forecast will be updated to reflect that. And we are fully expecting that on the back of Monkoi will happen quite rapidly. And as the success of Project Monkoi and the Roan ramp-up comes through, we will revise these guidance numbers because we are in a phase of two projects coming into operation as they're being ramped up. And therefore, we felt it more prudent to give conservative numbers. And then we'll update them as the projects reach their various targets.
Yeah, because just purely on revenue, when you look at the difference between what you've estimated at just under 6,000 tons per annum for 25 up to the 25,000, you've got a difference there between 55 million US dollars of pure revenue to $230 million of pure revenue. And that's quite a difference when your market cap is 175 million.
Oh, very much so, Kevin. I mean, I think that is also, you're quite right, what copper reflects. As we've now capitalized this business, built out processing capacity, investing into buying up resources in Zambia, and then bringing them into operation, the impact these increases of our production numbers bring into our financial numbers is very, very significant.
What do you expect the chrome to add in EBITDA to the business in 2025? Do you have an idea of what you think that will be?
Well, it's, I can't be sitting here and giving forecasted numbers on our financials, but if you look at the margins that we have targeted on our chrome, where we've told the market we look to achieve a chrome margin of approximately 15% on a ton of chrome concentrate produced. And our chrome, if you look at the prices in the market, you'll see that chrome CIFs are running around about the $300 to $350 a ton. You can calculate that the impact on chrome is becoming very significant on our earnings as our company. Each ton we now add is tons from material we trade in the market rather than our more conservative contracts, which were our tolling agreements. So our margins continue to grow on chrome. So not only are we adding tons, but we're adding higher margin tons into our chrome portfolio.
And these things that you're doing now in Sable with the two deals that you just did for the mining, effectively now you're not paying for the ore. The ore is just coming to you now because obviously you've given deals to those companies by buying them, and they're basically taking shares. So what's the margin likely to be like on those companies?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. These deals are very significant. Not only do we secure a resource, we secure a resource that is basically at surface, and the grades of these resources are exceptional. And we'll continue to update the market as we drill out the resources. We put definition around these resources for the market to understand the sheer significance of these resources we've secured. And as we told the market before, we target on our copper to run our copper business between a 25 to 30% margin on our copper. And with copper running at roughly about $9,000 to $9,500, you can see that we are adding roughly $3,500 of margin per ton of copper for the group as we go forward. And that's something we've told the market before is our target. You're quite right that these resources like Monkoi has a higher margin than what your waste rock would be, because the carrying value per ton in these Monkoi type resources are nearly 5-fold higher than the carrying value per ton in a waste rock that we process. And if you look at our two operations, it's why Sable's capacity will become more dedicated towards the Monkoi style resources, because their carrying value is so much higher per ton. While Roan, which is a unique operation with specialized processing approach to be able to process those waste rock and previously processed or tailings material at Roan. So we're complementing our capacity by having a refinery dedicated towards Monkoi style resources and a Roan dedicated towards more previously processed and mined material in Zambia.
And you had a milestone, I think, it's since you've been on the last podcast as well, Leon, where you announced first production of the copper concentrate from the front-end module, obviously at Roan, which will then be refined to produce the copper cathode at the Sable refinery. So just talk us through how important those steps are as well.
Oh, it's critical steps, Phil, because what we've now demonstrated is our ability to take roughly a very low-grade waste-style project and upgrade it nearly 12 times through our process module at Roan into a very valuable process concentrate. It's such a critical step that we wanted to demonstrate that ability because it now unlocks so many similar opportunities in Zambia where we are able to take, for example, our waste rock project that we speak of in partnership with the IRH, where we are able to take that low-grade waste rock project in a very single module, upgraded nearly 12 times in copper concentrate, unlocks that potential. Equally, that same approach can be taken to our regional processing hubs around Monkwe or around Project G, where we are able to upgrade those reefs even higher before refining it. That's a critical step, and it's something we had to demonstrate not only to ourselves and our investors, but also the industry, that this can be done and can be done very effectively.
So as my final question, where are we at with the IRH project and, getting the plant and machinery ready for this process to start to happen?
Yeah, sure. I mean, at Project Roan, this front-end module commissioning was a critical confidence booster for that project. It was needed. We needed to demonstrate to an incoming investor, and not just because we believe we can do it in our laboratory show we can do it, but to actually demonstrate that it can be done on commercial scale. It's why we were pushing so hard to pull back the commissioning timelines for Roan to demonstrate that, in fact, waste rock or overburden rock, which is exactly the same type of rock that is in the project with IRH, can in fact be taken from 0.5% copper up to north of 7 and 8% copper concentrate within a single upgrade step before it can be refined. So on the back of that confidence, we certainly now can push to accelerate on our waste rock project with the IRH.
So is it fair to ask, probably you're going to say no to this question, but is it fair to ask as investors, are you going to now be in a position where you're going to be chucking off a lot of cash, not need to go back to the market for cash for either any expansion or moving forward, at least for the foreseeable future, maybe the next year to 2 years?
No, absolutely. I mean, as we've told the market, for us, key focus areas is secure more Project Monkwe's. Project Monkwe is a central point in the region where we look to secure 3, 4, 5 of these type of resources around a central point. And we're looking to do exactly the same with Project G, where it's a second central area that we're looking to secure. The build-up of operational output drives many funding opportunities for our group that was not available when our copper production was lower. We are being, as you breach the 5,000 tons of copper per annum and up to 10 and 15,000 tons of copper, you're able to raise various structured financing for copper. Copper is in demand. There's a very positive pressure on the market, and therefore we are able to secure funding that would make equity-based or share-based funding as a very, very last option. There are many other options available to us as a group. And in Zambia, critically, our balance sheet's unleveraged in Zambia, and we specifically kept that leveraged to be able to fund the next layer or the next step in our operational output that we now are targeting.
I mean, from a Zambian perspective, do you see blue sky situation that you will move from 25,000 tons to 50,000 tons to 75,000 tons to 100,000 tons of contained copper, or
I think what we've shown clearly now is on the back of having a Project Monkwe, which is a resource that's being mined, open pit at surface. The fact that we have previously mined material and previously processed material being processed through Roan, it means that the sky really is our limit. It's how much of these resources do we secure to implement the process solutions we've now proven to work on these resources. So absolutely, you can take the company to a 50 or 75 or 100,000 tons of copper per annum. As we've said before, if you just look at the Project Monkwe style resources in Zambia, the full opportunity set in Zambia, not that we'll be able to secure all of it, but just that opportunity set is a couple of 100,000 tons of copper per annum opportunity. So it's how big a slice of that opportunity do we secure with a proven process that is now running in Zambia. So absolutely, there is tremendous blue sky opportunity for us to grow and grow rapidly in Zambia.
Yeah, and I think people need to take a step back and understand that, like, revenue-wise, on 25,000 tons, you're talking about revenues of over $200 million US. 50,000, you're talking about 400 million. On 75,000, you're talking about 600 million. On 100,000, you're talking about 800, 900 million, and that's at the current copper price. And obviously, the hard rock stuff isn't as profitable. But as you say, the philosophy now is to get that run of mine ore, which is much more profitable for you. You know, you're probably going to be running at over 50% profit when you get that run of mine ore processor. So this is going to turn into a money-making machine. But I think everybody's just a little exasperated about how long it's taken. So what's your answer to the investor who thinks, is this ever going to happen?
No, absolutely. I totally get that. I think critical in that escalation in the numbers you were quoting is fundamentally important in that step, is to be able to confidently demonstrate your ability to extract that copper out of those resources you spoke of. And that's been the hard slog, is to ensure that we have at a commercial scale operating and processing capacity that demonstrates now finally that each three of these resource classes, we have not only the capability, but we are actually extracting copper out of a proven methodology from these resources. And therefore now the path to expand is so much more in your control than the development phase and overcoming some of the challenges and hurdles we had to overcome in Zambia to be able to implement the solution. And therefore, the path going forward should be a far more rapid and defined path than what it took for us to get to this point.
Yeah, and I suppose my point of view, having seen it in person and stuff over a couple of visits, is that you've already done this by scaling up the chrome in a massive way. And, you know, you are quickly becoming the biggest chrome producers in the entire world, not just in South Africa. You know, where will 1.6 million tons of chrome sit you in terms of the world's chrome production?
We're in the top three biggest in the world.
Yeah. So I think this is what I hope you're going to be aiming to do with the copper. Maybe not in the top three, but ultimately copper cathode is going to be coming thick and fast out of Zambia. And Zambian government, I'm sure, having spoken to the president, spoken to different mining people in Zambia, they desperately need it.
Yeah, I mean, I think critical part in that discussion, even with government, is that so many people speak of what they wish to achieve. And we were there as well. What we wish to achieve, what we hope to be able to implement on the back of some of these challenging resources. We're now at a position which even the Zambian government recognizes that we can demonstrate, we can host people to show them how it is done, how it's done at scale. And therefore, the expansion from that position is so much more achievable. And we are one of the very few companies in Zambia that can actually say we've implemented new operations. We actually are operating and are operational on new investments in Zambia. And now we simply look to scale from that position on a proven solution, a solution that has been tried and tested now. And we know which targets to pursue in Zambia.
Very good.
Well, on that note, we'll say Leon Coetzer, CEO of Jubilee Metals, thanks very much for your time.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you, guys.
This podcast was brought to you by Roast PR Limited. If you would like to appear on a future episode of The Sunday Roast, please email admin@thesundayroast.net.